Watch the Mega Millions drawing live tonight here on TV 23. Covering the High Plains with news, weather, and information. From TV 23 Studios in Sublette, this is High Plains Today.
And hi, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2015. Welcome to High Plains Today. On today's show, I'll be talking with Brian Palkowitsh. He is with Ameriprise Financial in Ulysses. We got some things to talk about, I'm just saying. Hey, let's take a look at some news. Well, the national average price for regular unleaded gasoline marks the lowest price for this date since 2004, and prices continue to march lower. Now, the Kansas average price for regular unleaded gasoline has fallen 33 of the last 35 days. Now, that's going back to August 17th, when the state average was just under $2.58 a gallon. Now, this morning, the Kansas average stands at $2.16 a gallon. That's a decline of over 41 cents or 16% lower than back on August 17th. Today, Kansas average price for regular unleaded is another 6 cents lower than last Monday and is over 39 cents lower than a month ago. Now, the Kansas average is also nearly $1.05 lower than it was a year ago today. The sale of a 1962 autographed World Series baseball has raised $30,000 for a memorial statue honoring 9-year-old bat boy Kaiser Carlisle, who died when he was accidentally hit by a bat during a National Baseball Congress World Series game in Wichita. Now, the Wichita Eagle reported that Randy Watson, whose 13-year-old brother Rudy died in 1966 after he was struck in the head by a foul ball at a baseball game, donated the ball to a silent auction. The autographed baseball from the 1962 New York Yankees will be displayed at Seward County Community College. And the U.S. Department of Justice has awarded federal grants to buy law enforcement body cameras in Wyandotte County, Wichita, and Dodge City. Now, the Dodge City Police Department is receiving a $45,000 grant. Wyandotte County and Kansas City are receiving $352,000, and the city of Wichita is receiving $250,000. The grants are being awarded through the Justice Department's Bureau of Justice. Kansas' rate of adult obesity surged in 2014 to close the gap with weight-challenged Oklahoma and fall another step behind lean-living Colorado. A new report said Monday at least 21% of residents in every state in the United States were viewed as obese in the analysis released by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and Trust for America's Health. Now, overall adult obesity rates remained mostly steady across the country last year, but unease remains as the rate has doubled over the last 35 years. Fall enrollment for Kansas State University is down for the first time since 2006. The Manhattan Mercury reported enrollment for 2015 is 24,212. Now that's down 554 students from fall of 2014. President Kirk Schultz discussed the numbers Friday while presenting his annual State of the University address. He says the situation will be discussed as the university puts together an enrollment management task force to set goals and look for ways to grow. Now, the fall enrollment count has increased until this year steadily since 2006. A southern Kansas hospital's pending closure, which administrators blame on the state's reluctance to expand Medicaid, hasn't been enough to persuade Governor Brownback to soften his stance on the matter. Mercy Hospital System plans to close its hospital in Independence next month. Now, Mercy spokeswoman Joanne Smith said expanding the program that provides health coverage to poor and disabled Kansans would have brought the hospital about $1.6 million in additional revenue. Kansas is one of 20 states that have refused to expand Medicaid under the federal health care law. Rural hospitals already were struggling with declining populations, and in many cases, their financial situations had become critical because of changes in the way hospitals get reimbursed under the health care law. And finally, the Kansas State Fair has wrapped up its annual 10-day run in Hutchinson. The Hutchinson News reports that, taken as a whole, the grandstand events through Saturday were in the black. Now, the fair's interim general manager, Lori Hart, says the Sam Hunt Show was the most popular with about 7,700 tickets sold. Hart said it was the most tickets sold for a concert since Toby Keith performed back in 2013. And also the youth livestock exhibits put up record numbers this year. Now between cattle, swine, sheep, and goats, more than 1,600 livestock were shown at the fair. And that's a look at just some of the stuff that's happening out there. Stick around, we got some showers moving in. We'll be back with a look at your weather after this.
You're watching High Plains Today on TV 23 with host Chris Jewell. TV 23's internet service and 4G live streaming provided by United Wireless. Coverage you deserve. Service you expect. United Wireless.
Hi, Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs weekdays at noon right here on TV 23. We talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about weather, we're even going to talk entertainment. We'll have live guests right here on set with me. So, every day at noon, tune in, High Plains Today. We'll see you then.
Weekdays here on TV 23.
You want to feel connected, informed, included, inspired. So when important things happen, we're here. Your local TV and radio broadcasters. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information. On every screen in your life. We are broadcasters. Always here for you, wherever here may be. Text TV to 52886. Tell Washington local stations matter.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Now, the local weather forecast for the High Plains.
And welcome back. As you can see, it's starting to get dark out there. There's a lot of clouds, and there are some, we'll show you the radar here in a minute, but there is some rain headed this way. Let's take a look at I'm pushing the button and nothing's happening. I was going to look at our current temperatures, but there they are. Stupid button. Anyway, temperature 79 degrees. Relative humidity 57%. Winds are out of the south-southwest at 15. Barometric pressure is holding steady. There, as we look at the radar as it rolls in, you can see everything that's coming up from the southwest is moving off to the northeast. Rain should be getting into the Liberal and Sublette area here probably yet this afternoon, so we'll just keep going on from there. Looking at our current dew points around the area, you can see that we're pretty much everybody in the 50s and 60s, and with the current winds out of the south-southwest, everybody pretty much in the teens. As we look at highs and lows yesterday recorded at the Garden City Regional Airport, yesterday's high was 94, the record 99 back in 2005, 61 overnight, 28 back in 1983. No measurable rain in the bucket, but I think that's going to change as we looked at the radar. That's proof of that. Looking at our forecast, 10% chance today. I think that's going to be 100% here after a while. 86 for the high. Winds are going to be out of the south-southwest at 13. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 30% chance of rain. Now, that chance of rain is going to pick up again after midnight, really after 2 a.m. The low tonight, 67. Winds will still be out of the south at 13. And then tomorrow, 50% chance of rain, high of 83. Winds are going to be out of the south at 14, picking up in the afternoon to about 20 miles an hour. Then overnight, tomorrow night, 61 for the low. That chance of rain still hanging around, 50%. South winds at 17. Looking at the 7-day, you can see we've got all this rain sticking around. We get into the weekend, though. You know, it's going to be in the 80s, and, well, fall rolls in tomorrow at about 3 o'clock tomorrow morning officially, but you can see that we're going to stay summer-like temperatures pretty much for the next 7 days. Stick around. We'll be back with markets after this.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Something I feel when I'm right here. Something that tells me that I'm home. This is the place. Everybody here knows it. This is the place. Oh, it's home to me and you. Yeah, this is the place.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/sign.
Man, that tower cam, it's getting darker and darker all the time. Welcome back. I'm now joined by Brian Palkowitsh. He is with Ameriprise Financial in Ulysses. Good day, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
There's a lot going on.
There is a tremendous amount of news here
today.
Well,
we can't get to it all, but we're going to hit the high points. Okay, so the Chinese president, not the premier, but the president, I don't know what his job would be, but he is in the American Northwest, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. He's in Seattle today. He's scheduled 2 days in advance of his state-sponsored meeting in D.C., and then he's going to speak to the UN here in a couple days behind the Pope. So he'll be following up.
I was going to say that'd be a hard act to follow, though, following the Pope.
Yeah, very hard there.
Okay, so why is he here?
Well, today and tomorrow he's meeting with quite a few CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies as well as Silicon Valley CEOs. And the reason why he's lobbying the Silicon Valley CEOs is the U.S. government's trying to impose cybersecurity regulations.
Right.
And he's trying to get them to lobby not to do that.
That would be a hindrance to them, wouldn't it?
It would be.
They wouldn't be able to get into as much stuff as they like to get into if that happened.
Exactly. And stuff,
okay, so he's over here trying to lobby.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's going to go to the highest bidder, evidently.
As always.
Okay.
It's all politics.
You know what? But the big interesting thing is Volkswagen. Volkswagen's in trouble.
Yeah, they're in some serious trouble. It the news actually broke loose like last Thursday. They installed software on quite a few of their vehicles to get around the U.S. regulations on emissions. They got caught, and now Volkswagen has set aside $7.2 billion for recalls and potentially up to $18 billion in fines on top of that.
Ooh, so we're talking over $25 billion. I wish I had $7.2 billion just so I could just set it aside. I wish I had that.
Exactly.
That'd be easy. Okay, so what they did was, they messed with the onboard computer diagnostics on their cars, on their vehicles?
Supposedly they installed some software. It must be in the computer system on the vehicles there as well.
Okay, so that it allows them to know when the vehicle is going to be tested, right? So that then they can slip by and pass the emissions test when they're really not as good. Those cheaters.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be over $25 billion that they're going to shell out.
Well, now, that's up to $18 billion of that's fines. Now, I'm sure that will be negotiated down.
Okay, but still, I mean, we're talking billions with a B. What does that do to their stock on the open market?
Well, right now, Volkswagen stock is down 15% today. It's down
15%.
15% today. It's down $23 a share right now, and it's at $128 a share right now. So, and that's just today. It's been off since last Thursday.
So this is going to hit them pretty hard.
Very hard. It's gonna test their survivability through this now, if they're going to survive.
Okay, so and they're owned by the Porsche Group, right?
Correct.
Okay, and Porsche, they own a lot of stuff. But so, and I was reading that Porsche is going to try and gain a majority of the ownership of shares in the Volkswagen Group. But will this change their mind at all?
It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to unfold, because if they own like 45% of it right now, and they're negotiating to buy the rest. Are they going to just call that off, or are they going to buy it at a discount now?
Well, you'd think it'd be if you are Porsche and you are going to pursue this, then wouldn't you think that at some point you'd go, now wait a minute, you guys did this, you're going to have to bail out all this, to get out of the hole, and your stock is now, okay, we wanted it here, okay, now it's here. So, do they rush in? Is this something that Porsche would do?
Well, that's an interesting question. Kind of goes back to General Motors with the ignition switch.
That's true.
You know, U.S. government bailed out General Motors, and then they had their ignition switch issues here, and they're trying to settle that. They took a $550 million charge here the other day in settlements on that issue.
Yeah, but $550 million ain't nothing compared to 18 bazillion.
It's a lot less.
That'll be interesting. We'll have to follow that and see what happens to the VW brand, because I mean, there's a lot of it. I mean, is this just going to affect the Volkswagen brand, or is it going to affect, you know, Mini and all these other brands that Volkswagen has under their umbrella?
Well, it's going to be containment. How well are they going to be able to contain this? So it could bleed over into the other lines, but now it's containment.
Wow. Okay. So if Volkswagen stock's going to get, you think, cheaper, huh?
It's got a pretty good chance of getting cheaper. So
okay. All right. And the other thing we're going to talk about is the commodities market, because right now, oil is, and we did that, you know, the lead story today was the gas prices, you know, and the Kansas gas average for unleaded is $2.16 statewide. That's the average, and that continues to keep going lower.
Correct.
And is it going to keep going lower?
That's the trend, and that's kind of what we touched on last week. Is Goldman Sachs has said there's a probability that we could see $20 oil. Right now, oil's down $1.38 at a little over 45 and a quarter right now, so it's slipping right now.
But okay, so help me understand, because you know, for the last couple of weeks though, crude oil has been staying in the 40s.
Correct.
But yet the prices are still coming down. So how is that possible?
Well, there's still a lot of production. The Iranian deal is starting to come online since we passed a treaty. We weren't able to veto that. Right now, there's like 40 million barrels of oil that Iran has floating on ships out on the seas, getting ready to be dumped on the market here within the next probably 90 days. So that's going to add pressure to the oil situation.
What do we figure? That's 20 super tankers sitting off the coast waiting to unload somewhere.
Correct.
Okay. So, and then the United States, we have what, 700 and some million barrels in storage?
Yes.
Is that what you told me?
Yeah, we have about 770 million barrels in storage. China has 225 million barrels in storage.
Okay, so with all that oil in storage for the United States, I mean, are they going to be dipping into that at all or not?
The only time they're going to dip into that is if we have some unforeseen situation, war, or some disruption in the supply. I don't see any disruption in the supply. If anything, it's going to be an addition to the supply.
That's true. Okay.
So I don't see that happening.
Okay, so they really think that oil is going to go down below $20?
That's a possibility.
It's
definitely not a
Don't hold me to that. It's just a possibility.
And so now we're starting to see other bleed into other commodities. Today, copper touched January lows of this year, and that's been the low since 2007.
Really?
On copper, grain prices are slipping, as we see on the markets just updated here. They're starting to slip here, grains, the corn and wheat. Cattle are slipping a little bit. We've had some inventory builds there because of the drought alleviating here in the last several years, so that's adding pressure to that complex.
So it's kind of like, so goes oil, so goes everything else.
Right, and the Federal Reserve last week decided not to raise rates.
That's true. We talked about that.
We talked about that last week.
And that was a good thing.
Yeah, well, to a degree, because now there's so much uncertainty. It's like, okay, when are they going to do it? They're going to do it. It's just a question of when they're going to do it. I think they should. If they're going to do it, they should have just done it. Got it behind us and got rid of that uncertainty.
Okay. Man, covered a lot of stuff. My head hurts. Brian, thanks for coming in today.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, we'll see what we can figure out that you can mess my head up with next time.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Brian. And stick around. I'll be back with more right after this.
Letting it show. I've been around.
to feel connected, informed, included, inspired. So when important things happen, we're here. Your local TV and radio broadcasters. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information. On every screen in your life. We are broadcasters. Always here for you, wherever here may be. Text TV to 52886. Tell Washington local stations matter.
It's not his new group of friends. It's not the video games. It's not the neighborhood.
Mom, do I have to go to school today?
The biggest threat to your child's future could be you. Every day they miss, even in middle school, puts their graduation at risk.
And welcome back. Hey, last night the New York Jets beat the Indianapolis Colts 20-7. Now, if you would have told me that after week 2 the Jets would be 2-0 and the Colts would be 0-2, I would have said no way, but there they are. The Jets, maybe they're for real. Who knows? Anyway, okay, and hail to the Redskins. As the song goes, hail, maybe one victory. The Washington Redskins won a game, and suddenly they're favorites to win the NFC East. The Cowboys are 2-0, but won't have Tony Romo and Des Bryant for at least half the season. The Eagles are 0-2, and they look terrible on offense. The Giants are 0-2, and they can't protect the lead to save themselves. So those dysfunctional Redskins at 1-1, are they the team to beat? Who knows? There you go, Reed Petty. That Redskins story was just for you. Let's take a look at our weather. It is 79 degrees. It is real cloudy out. Relative humidity 59%. The winds are out of the south-southwest at 15. Barometric pressure on the rise. We do have showers sliding into the area. There's not going to be a whole lot. There is a flash flood watch, though, for out west of Elkhart, so you may want to make yourself aware of that. Highs for the next 7 days are going to be in the 80s. Lows are pretty much going to be in the upper 50s to mid 60s. Go out and make it a great Tuesday, everybody. Call your cable operators and say, I want to see TV 23.
Keep up to date with the latest information from TV 23 on our Facebook page, KDGL TV.
Hi, I'm Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs at noon weekdays right here on TV 23. Hey, do you think you have an idea for something that would make a great segment? Somebody that would make a great interview? What about a community event that needs highlighting? Let us know here at the station. Email us news@kdgltv.com.